If you're a host, I'm willing to bet you've spent a ton of time, maybe even money, getting your photos just right. But what if I told you the real secret to getting those glowing reviews has almost nothing to do with what your guests see online? Today, we're diving into how to create a truly unforgettable stay by thinking way beyond just the pictures. I love this quote because it just cuts right to the chase. It's a bold statement, isn't it? It basically says that the thing we all pour our energy into, the photography, is only step one. It's the hook. It gets them in the door, but it's not what makes them rave about you later. So, if the pictures aren't the whole story, what is? Well, the answer is this idea of the 5 sense stay. And this is more than just, having a clean place. It's a whole philosophy. We're talking about intentionally designing an experience that hits all 5 senses, creating this powerful, positive memory that sticks with your guests long after they've checked out. Now, let's get into why this is so incredibly important right now. The market for rentals is, well, it's packed. It's totally flooded. It used to be that if you had a nice enough place and some decent photos, you were golden. But those days are over. Good enough just doesn't cut it anymore. To really stand out, you have to give people an experience they're gonna talk about. And this right here, this sums it all up perfectly. Getting that click is a transaction. It's based on a flat, two-dimensional image on a screen, but that 5-star review, that's all emotion. It comes from the complete feeling your guests had when they were actually in your space. So let's start with the first 2 senses that create that all-important first impression: sight and smell. You can think of these as the architects of your property's entire vibe. If you get these right, you're setting the stage for everything that follows. What's so interesting here is the massive difference between what people see online and what they see in real life. Your photos, they show the absolute best-case scenario, the perfect angles, the perfect lighting. But when a guest walks in, they see reality. They see the little dust bunnies in the corner, that one light bulb that's about to go, the clutter of old menus stuffed in a drawer. In-person sight is all about those little details. So how do you nail in-person sight? Here are 2 fantastic, super actionable tips. First, create a beautiful arrival scene. A couple of cheap smart plugs are a game changer. You can set your lamps to turn on around sunset, so guests walk into this warm, cozy glow instead of a dark, unwelcoming space. Second, you've got to pass the makeup mirror test. That harsh overhead light in the bathroom, it creates terrible shadows. When your guests feel good about how they look, they feel good about the space they're in. Okay, on to smell, which is the sense that's most deeply connected to memory. And this is so important. You have to avoid what we're calling the scent of cover-up. You know, that crazy strong plug-in air freshener? It doesn't smell clean. It smells like you're trying to hide something. The true scent of clean is actually a neutral scent. You get that by really airing the place out and using enzyme cleaners that destroy odors, not just cover them up with fake lavender. Now, once your place is genuinely clean, you can move on to the next level: signature scenting. This is like branding for your space. A subtle, really high-quality reed diffuser right in the entryway can make an incredible first impression. The key is to keep it light and match it to the season. Think warm vanilla and cedarwood in the winter, or maybe sea salt and citrus in the summer. It just whispers, you've arrived somewhere special. Okay, let's move on to the next pair of senses: sound and touch. I absolutely love that our source calls these the comfort core, because that's exactly what they are. These are the senses that create that feeling of deep, genuine relaxation and even a sense of luxury. Did you know that noise is the #1 reason for sleep complaints in rentals? Now, you can't control your neighbor's barking dog, but you can definitely control the acoustics inside your property. Simple things like rugs and heavy curtains work wonders to kill echo and absorb sound. And for less than €30, a white noise machine can be an absolute lifesaver for a guest who's a light sleeper. Oh, and a little QR code to a chill welcome playlist? That's a pro-level touch. Now for touch, and I want you to really honestly ask yourself this question about your own place. Forget how they look hanging there. How do your towels actually feel? Are they kind of thin, a little scratchy, or are they thick, plush, and super absorbent? Well, believe it or not, there's a magic number when it comes to towels, and that number is 600 plus. That's 600 GSM, which stands for grams per square meter. It's the key metric for towel density and quality. So what does that number actually mean for your guest? Well, your standard hotel towel is maybe 400 GSM, and they can feel pretty thin. But 600 GSM or higher, that's the benchmark for a true luxury towel. The feeling of that weight, that softness, it is something a guest absolutely notices. It's a small detail that just screams, I'm being taken care of.
All right, time for our final sense, taste. This one is maybe the most personal of all five. And when you get it right, it has the power to turn a simple booking transaction into a real moment of hospitality.
But first, a quick public service announcement. Can we all just agree to stop leaving that €3 bottle of supermarket wine, please? It feels so generic, it often doesn't even get opened, and it really says nothing about you or the amazing place your guests are visiting. Instead, lean into what makes your area special. For instance, our source is from Kavala, Greece, and they suggest things like a box of famous local cookies, or a little jar of regional honey, or a miniature bottle of a local spirit. Things like this tell a story. They connect your guest to the location, and the perceived value of something thoughtful and local like this is 10 times higher than a generic item you could find anywhere. So, we've covered sight, smell, sound, touch, and taste. But there's one more layer to this whole thing, a kind of sixth sense that ties it all together. This is what separates the really good hosts from the truly legendary ones.
And that sixth sense is intuition. It's the art of thinking one step ahead and anticipating what your guests will need before they even have to ask. It's turning on the AC an hour before they show up on a really hot day. It's having the Wi-Fi password on a little card right by the door so they don't have to go hunting for it. It's all about making their stay completely seamless and effortless.
And that really brings us to the final, most important takeaway. I want to leave you with this little exercise. The next time you are standing in your rental property, just stop for a second. Close your eyes. What do you actually smell? What sounds do you hear? Run your hand along the sofa. Does the whole experience, all of it together, feel genuinely inviting? Because if your property only looks good in the photos, you're missing out on the very senses that create the memories behind every single 5-star review.